Hey guys, we're Fantasy Aces. I'm Ryan Hare,
And I'm Vip Nayani.
and we're a new fantasy football show here at Virginia Tech. Today, we're going to talk about knowing your league type and knowing the point scoring throughout your league. We're going to talk about rotating your defenses every week. We're going to talk about player movement, and we're going to talk about the injury report.
All right, we're going to get started on league type. Most of you guys have already had your fantasy football drafts. I know me and Ryan have had about 3 or 4, and at this point, you guys should really know what kind of point system you guys have. Whether it's a standard league, whether it's PPR, 2QB, it doesn't matter beyond that, but you guys really need to see the subtleties within the point system, such as kick return yardage. Most people aren't aware that a lot of players have kick return yardage availability, but may not actually catch or receive yards during the games. Now, when you look at player reports, you might see zeros across the board because they don't catch, they don't rush, but you might see 5 to 6 points at the end of their score at the end of every week. But that's where it comes from: kick return yardage, punt return yardage. And as well, we should look at defensive scoring as well. So, Ryan?
So, most people here, they draft a defense in one of the end rounds, and they keep that defense throughout the year. We want to tell you not to do this necessarily and go more by the matchup week per week. For instance, well, obviously, if you drafted Seahawks, you're going to play them against Jacksonville, because that's just an obvious matchup. But, for instance, I took the Bills defense here. I picked them up this week because they're playing the Jets, who give the second most fantasy points to opposing defenses. So other defenses you could look at would be the Lions against the Redskins, because RG3 with his new knee here has just not looked good all year, and they've just been turning the ball over and haven't been able to do anything on offense. So I like the Lions defense. I also like the Panthers defense against the Giants, even though the Giants, well, they've given up the first most fantasy points to opposing defenses, which is something you wouldn't think of with Eli Manning back there at quarterback, but they have. I also like the Vikings with the Browns, because the Browns offense, without Brandon Weeden and without Trent Richardson, that offense is just terrible now. I expect the Vikings D-line to just destroy and just dominate all day. So those are the defenses I like. Now Vip's going to talk about player movement.
Yeah, basically this week the only big movement we saw was Trent Richardson. And with the void at running back with Cleveland, they've decided to pick up Willis McGahee and give Bobby Rainey some touches this week. Now, I'd advise you guys to pick up one of those guys, pick up McGahee either or Rainey, but don't start either yet. Both are unproven with Cleveland, and we don't have very high hopes for Cleveland in general as far as their offense right now, without Weeden, without Richardson. So keep them on your bench and just wait and see for a week or two. Now with Richardson, with the Colts, if you guys have been noticing, Bradshaw's been fairly productive while healthy, and we believe that Trent Richardson will be even better. He's a better pass catcher, he's a better in-between the tackle runner, and the Colts really can reap the benefits of having Richardson there. So now we're going to get into the injury report with Ryan.
All right, we got a nice long list of injuries this week. First, we're going to start off with Arian Foster, and while he's got to play this week with that calf injury, he's splitting carries 2-1 with Ben Tate. So this adds increasingly good fantasy value to Ben Tate here. Also, Andre Johnson didn't practice this week. He's got a concussion, might not play. It's game time decision. He still has to be cleared by the doctors. If he doesn't play, I like Owen Daniels and DeAndre Hopkins to get some of those receptions. We also got Ray Rice, who's got a hip injury. It's a game time decision. If he doesn't play, I like Bernard Pierce, but I don't know. We also got Eddie Lacy. He's got a concussion. This obviously increases value of James Starks, the backup, but I don't know if I like him so much against Cincinnati's defense. But either way, even if Eddie Lacy plays, Starks is still going to start this week. Next, we got Roddy White and Julio Jones. Roddy White has played all 2 weeks so far, but has not produced whatsoever. I would bench Roddy White right now. If you're playing, don't play him. Julio Jones, on the other hand, has been a beast both weeks. He's been a little nicked up, but he's still got the receptions, he's got the yards, and he's got the touchdowns. But I'd also look at picking up Harry Douglas to get some of Roddy White's receptions there, because Roddy White has just not produced this year.
Guys, keep in mind, we only like Harry Douglas in PPR leagues.
This is true.
He hasn't racked up a ton of yardage either week. He had a high of about 93 yards in week 1, but with only 4 catches. In a PPR, that correlates to about 13 points, but in standard, only 9. Last week, he only had about 40 yards. So you can see in standard leagues, his value may not be there, but he does catch the ball quite a bit with Roddy White's injury.
Next, we got Larry Fitzgerald. And while he was injured last week as well and didn't put quite so good numbers last week, he still put up solid numbers. So I expect him. I would start him. I expect him to play. He's questionable, but I think he'd still play. But if he doesn't, which I don't see why he would, I'd get Michael Floyd and Andre Roberts to pick up those receptions. Next, we got Reggie Bush. Reggie Bush is interesting because he's really banged up here. He's going to be a game-time decision. Either way, if he plays or not, I like Joique Bell just because Joique Bell's going to get a lot of those carries even if Reggie Bush does play. He got a lot of them in the first game. He got 2 touchdowns in the first game. So I like Joique Bell a lot. Last, we got MJD. He's questionable. Game-time decision, might play, might not. But either way, I don't like anyone on Jacksonville against that Seattle defense.
Let me reiterate that. Don't use Jacksonville players.
Yes.
Don't do it.
Seattle's just going to destroy
Don't do
them.
it.
It'll be bad. So don't pick up anyone from Jacksonville. All right, that's our show. We're Fantasy Aces.
I'm Vip Nayani.
And I'm Ryan Hare. Thank you for watching.